Silicon Valley promotes a specific image: free lunches, open offices, and ping pong tables. But the actual architecture operates on a strict hierarchy of power. At the very bottom of that hierarchy is the independent developer. You are operating out of a cramped apartment with an old laptop and a Wi-Fi connection. You have complete autonomy to build whatever you want, but absolutely zero capital to support it. The physical toll sets in quickly. 14-hour coding sprints replace a normal sleep schedule. You skip dinners, ignore text messages, and eventually friends stop reaching out. You accept this extreme isolation because of a deeply embedded promise. The entire ecosystem runs on the belief that writing the right piece of code can launch you out of poverty overnight. One viral hit, and your entire socioeconomic trajectory shifts. In this early phase, you are willingly burning your current physical and mental health. You trade today's well-being for the raw potential of tomorrow's freedom. Then, the app actually hits. Your user base spikes, your inbox floods with term sheets, and suddenly, venture capitalists are handing you millions of dollars and labeling you a visionary. But institutional capital comes with a specific mandate. Those investors expect a massive, rapid return. Your original goal of building a useful tool takes a backseat, replaced entirely by a directive to drive up user retention metrics. A red notification badge triggers a physiological response, a dopamine spike. The interface hijacks the reward center, pulling users back. As software updates, the architecture shifts. A chronological feed morphs into an algorithmic funnel, maximizing screen time, trapping the user in a continuous loop. Your own role shifts alongside the code. You stop looking at your audience as individuals to help and start viewing them as behavioral data points to manage and engage. The millions in your bank account are directly tied to how effectively you keep eyes glued to a screen. Your financial independence is purchased by engineering the dependency of your users. Scale introduces an entirely new reality. You are now managing tens of millions of daily active users. You fly on private jets to industry conferences, and the business press treats your management style as doctrine. At this volume, the platform's mechanics shift from selling products to coordinating mass human behavior. An algorithm trained to hold human attention inevitably begins to shape how large groups of people perceive reality. This network map illustrates the scale of that influence. A minor adjustment to the central sorting algorithm cascades outward, instantly altering the information diets of entire voting blocks and swaying regional public opinion. That kind of influence attracts the state. Lawmakers recognize that an unelected tech company is steering civic discourse, leading to hostile congressional hearings and immediate threats of heavy federal regulation. The intense public scrutiny becomes a severe liability. To survive, you have to insulate yourself from traditional oversight, leading to a quiet transition, an invitation to closed-door meetings with an entirely different class of wealth. By reaching global scale, you are no longer just a business leader. Your platform has become a geopolitical asset. Because of this, every meeting you have and every update you ship is now a matter of national security, effectively ending your life as a private citizen. This tier of wealth physically removes you from society. You trade the media spotlight for a fortified compound, built on a remote stretch of coastline completely isolated from major population centers. Your daily life is now defined by extreme security measures. You move with armed teams trained to neutralize threats, and you rely on encrypted, untraceable networks for even the most basic communication, because any digital footprint is a target. At these private dinners, the conversation ignores market share or quarterly earnings. It centers on massive structural transitions, automating the global workforce with artificial intelligence, and buying vast tracts of land to establish privately governed cities. The operating logic at this level shifts entirely. National governments are no longer viewed as regulatory authorities setting the rules. They are treated as heavily armed rival organizations competing for the exact same resources. When your physical safety requires a private army, and your conversations require military-grade encryption, the boundary between protection and imprisonment vanishes. The wealth you built to ensure your security has instead created a state of permanent, institutionalized paranoia. You exist in a cavernous, ultra-luxury estate. It is filled with expensive art and cutting-edge technology, but the vast spaces are completely silent. The people you knew before the money are long gone. Every interaction you have is heavily vetted by a security team and driven by a specific financial or strategic motive. When everyone in your proximity is on the payroll, genuine trust becomes impossible. You spent decades building the most powerful communication infrastructure in history, yet the ultimate reward for engineering global connection is a life that is entirely cut off from humanity itself.